The film opens 13 years before the main story. A young Alice, no more than 6 years old, wakes in the middle of the night from a nightmare. She pads down the corridor to where her father is in a late meeting, discussing his plans for a bold new trade route to China, an idea everyone else considers mad. She interrupts him to tell him about her dream. Strange creatures. A world she can't explain. She asks him if she's gone mad. He takes her face in his hands and tells her, yes. Absolutely. Wonderfully, magnificently mad. And all the best people are. Then we jump 13 years forward. Alice's father is dead. She is 19, pale, thoughtful, slightly out of step with the world around her, arriving at a garden party on the arm of her mother. She has no idea what the party is for. She finds out quickly. It is an engagement party. For her. Hamish, the pale, stiff son of her father's former business partner, gets down on one knee in front of everyone and asks Alice to marry him. The entire garden goes quiet. Everyone is watching. Her mother is watching. This is the expected thing. The proper thing. The thing a girl in her position simply does. Alice looks at Hamish on one knee. She looks at the crowd watching her. And at the edge of the garden, she sees a white rabbit in a waistcoat. She tells everyone she needs a moment. And she follows the rabbit. He leads her to a hole at the base of the tree. She leans over to look in. And then, she falls. The fall is long and strange and dreamlike, objects floating past her in the dark, furniture drifting as though underwater, a world between worlds that has the logic of a dream and the weight of something much older. She lands in a long, dim corridor. At one end is a tiny door, far too small for her to fit through. She finds a key on a glass table. She finds a bottle labeled "Drink Me" and does exactly that, shrinking down to the size of a mouse. But she left the key on the table she can no longer reach. She finds a cake that makes her grow, so large her head hits the ceiling and her arms and legs push against the walls. She eats a little more of the bottle's contents and shrinks again to a manageable size. She takes the key. She opens the tiny door. And she steps through into Underland. The first thing she sees is a landscape that looks like it has been through a war. Dark skies, ruined trees, a world that was once beautiful and is now damaged and cold. She is immediately surrounded by a collection of strange creatures, the white rabbit, flustered and certain he has found the right Alice this time. The dormouse, tiny and fierce, who is just as certain he has not. A dodo bird. And the Tweedles, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, round and identical, arguing with each other and occasionally with everyone else. Alice is clear about one thing. She tells them all, she is not the Alice they're looking for. This is a dream. She has been here before in dreams and she will wake up from this one the same way she always does. None of them pay much attention to this. They take her to Absalom. Absalom is a caterpillar, enormous, blue, smoking a hookah and draped over a giant mushroom with the air of someone who has been right about everything for a very long time. He consults a scroll, an ancient parchment called the Oraculum, which contains illustrated prophecy detailing every event in Underland's history from its creation to its final days. He studies Alice. He says she is not hardly Alice. Not the right one. Not yet. Before anyone can argue about this, the ground shakes. The Bandersnatch, a massive, fast, terrifying creature, bursts through the trees, led by the Knave of Hearts, a tall, cold, dangerous man who serves the Red Queen. He has heard that the real Alice has returned. He is here to stop her. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are snatched up by the Jubjub bird and carried away to the Red Queen's castle. Alice runs, alone now, into the dark of Underland. Alone in the woods, Alice encounters the Cheshire Cat, Chesser, who materializes out of thin air with a wide, floating smile and offers to take her somewhere safer. He leads her through the dark forest to the Mad Hatter's tea party. The tea party is exactly as chaotic as it sounds. The Mad Hatter sits at one end of a very long table covered in cups and cakes and impossible clutter, with the March Hare at the other end and the tiny Dormouse, who has found Alice again, in between. The Hatter is delighted to see Alice. Wildly, specifically, enormously delighted. He is certain she is the real Alice, and unlike everyone else, this certainty comes not from a scroll but from something he simply knows. But the moment of reunion is cut short. The Knave of Hearts arrives at the edge of the tea party with soldiers and Bayard, a bloodhound who has been enslaved by the Red Queen and uses his nose in her service. He demands Alice be handed over. The Hatter stuffs Alice into a teapot to hide her. The Dormouse quietly scolds Bayard, who, unwilling to truly betray Alice, leads the Knave away in the wrong direction. When they are gone, the Hatter tells Alice what happened to Underland in the years she was away. The Red Queen, with her enormous head and her absolute inability to tolerate anything she does not like, rose to power and took the throne. She banished the White Queen, the true and rightful ruler, to her own domain at the edge of Underland. She rules through fear, surrounding herself with subjects too terrified to tell her the truth about anything. And she has the Jabberwocky, a vast, ancient dragon-like creature, as her weapon. The oraculum, the Hatter tells Alice, shows one event happening on a specific day very soon. The Frabjous Day. On that day, according to prophecy, a champion will slay the Jabberwocky using the Vorpal sword, the only weapon capable of killing it. The White Queen's champion. The one person in all of Underland capable of doing it. Alice. The real Alice. Alice is still not convinced this is not a dream. But when the knave and his soldiers reappear and the Hatter is captured, dragged away toward the Red Queen's castle, something shifts in her. With Bayard's help, she makes her way to the Red Queen's castle to find the Hatter. Alice arrives at the Red Queen's castle still small, the size of a gerbil, and slips in unnoticed. She spots the White Rabbit assisting with a game of croquet. She signals to him desperately for something to make her bigger. He manages to pass her a piece of cake. She eats too much of it. She shoots upward, 10 feet tall, crashing through the garden, her head level with the top of the hedge maze, her feet leaving craters in the lawn. The Red Queen looks up at this enormous girl looming over her garden and does not react the way most people would. She looks at Alice's head, which, from her perspective, is admirably large, and decides immediately that she likes her. Alice, thinking fast, gives her name as from the village of Umbridge. She says she would be honored to serve the Queen. The Red Queen, who collects unusual-looking people the way others collect objects, declares her part of the royal court. Inside the castle, Alice finds the Hatter, who has been brought before the Queen and is scheduled to be executed. He stalls brilliantly, offering to design a hat for the Queen's enormous head, which is the one subject guaranteed to hold her attention indefinitely. The Queen orders both the Hatter and the Dormouse to be executed the next morning. That night Alice searches the castle for the Vorpal sword, the weapon the prophecy says she needs. She finds it locked away. In the morning, just before the executions are to take place, the Cheshire Cat appears. He uses his ability to become invisible and to assume other forms to take on the appearance of the Hatter, creating just enough confusion to allow the Hatter, the Dormouse, the White Rabbit, the Tweedles, and Bayard's family to escape. They all flee toward the White Queen's castle. The White Queen's castle is everything the Red Queen's is not: bright, quiet, elegant, filled with the White Queen's particular kind of calm. The White Queen, pale, otherworldly, graceful in a slightly unsettling way, uses her knowledge of potions to restore Alice to her normal size. And it is here that Alice finally accepts what she has been refusing to accept since she arrived. She goes to the garden where Absalom has cocooned himself in the beginning of a transformation. He speaks to her from inside the chrysalis. He tells her what she has been fighting against, that she has been here before. That she was a child of 6 when she first fell into Underland. That everything she thought was a dream was real. And one by one, as he speaks, the memories surface. The rabbit. The Hatter. The Dormouse. The Cheshire Cat. All of it. All real. All waiting for her to come back. The Frabjous Day arrives. The armies of the Red and White Queens face each other across a vast chessboard plain, black and white squares stretching to the horizon, soldiers of both sides drawn up in lines. The Red Queen releases the Jabberwocky. It is immense. It fills the sky above the battlefield, wings spread wide, ancient and patient, looking down at Alice the way something enormous looks at something small it does not yet consider a threat. Alice faces it alone. What follows is a battle across the ruins of Underland, Alice climbing the towers of a ruined castle, running across the battlements, refusing to back down even when the creature comes within inches of her. The Jabberwocky speaks to her, taunting her, trying to use the doubt she has always felt about herself against her. Telling her she is nothing. That she cannot do this. And Alice remembers 6 impossible things she has believed before she even had breakfast. She lists them to herself one by one: the armor, the potion, the Hatter, the sword. And the 7th impossible thing she believes right now, in this moment, is that she can do this. She drives the Vorpal sword up through the Jabberwocky's neck. She cuts its head clean off. The battlefield goes still. The Red Queen's army scatters. The Knave of Hearts tries to attack the Red Queen in the chaos, and the Hatter steps forward and stops him, because even now he will not allow violence against someone already defeated. The White Queen banishes the Red Queen and the Knave to the farthest reaches of Underland, exiled forever, with only each other for company. The White Queen gives Alice a small vial, the blood of the Jabberwocky, which has the power to take her wherever she wishes to go. Before she goes, Alice says her goodbyes. She goes to the Hatter last. He tells her she could stay in Underland. She could live here. She belongs here in a way she has never belonged anywhere in the world above. And Alice knows he means it. She knows she feels it too. But she also knows that there is something waiting for her above the rabbit hole, a life she has not yet decided how to live. She drinks the drop of Jabberwocky's blood. And she opens her eyes back in the garden above the rabbit hole, the party still going on, the guests still waiting for her answer. She walks back into the garden. She stands in front of Hamish, and she turns him down. Calmly, clearly, without cruelty. She cannot marry him. She turns to the crowd. To her mother's horrified face, to her sister's eye rolls, to the business associates who see this as an insult, to every person who has spent her entire life telling her what she should be and who she should become. And she begins to talk. She tells them all about her father's dream, the trade route to China that everyone called mad. She says she is going to make it happen. She is going to take his ship, sail east, open new trade routes, build something real. The assembled guests stare at her. This is not what girls do. This is not what is expected. Alice doesn't particularly care. In the final scene she is on a ship, her father's old business partner watching from the dock as it sails away, a contract signed, the route ahead unknown. And as the ship moves out to open water, something lands on her shoulder. A blue butterfly. The same blue as Absalom, who told her she was not hardly Alice, not yet. And she smiles. She is hardly Alice no longer.